now we want to show you how it works. We want to go into our product and show you how do you configure Piper, how do you onboard her, how do you set up those experiences and those strategies that we just showed you. So I think with that, I'm going to hand it over to Katie to show you how it works. Katie, over to you.
All right, Maura, let's jump in the back end. So here we are in the qualified application, and what you're seeing on this screen is every visitor that Piper sees on your website. So she knows everyone who's on your website at any moment. And as new visitors arrive, what Piper will do is she will neatly organize those visitors into the segments that they belong to. So for example, you all might use different segments like open opportunities, target accounts, high intent pages, and Piper knows everything about these visitors. Again, she has that really rich CRM data, and she has everything that they're doing, their browsing behavior in that exact moment. So she has the goals that you're setting up for her with how to engage. She can do that for each unique buyer in a very bespoke way. So now that we've seen what Piper can see on the website, let's actually jump into what Piper knows about these different visitors. So as we start to onboard Piper, you're going to do some basic setup. First, you're going to let her know what your company name is and give her some context. How should she speak to your company? What tone do you want her to use? Do you want her to be pretty casual with your prospects, maybe a little bit more friendly, or you can even have her be pretty buttoned up and be professional? And then, of course, you'll build her profile. We'll want to give her an image, a name, and a job title. And this is all the basics that you can start to set up. So once that's done, we can start to load Piper up with really relevant content that she can read instantly from your website. She can read offline docs like FAQs or snippets. And this is really allowing Piper to understand how should she respond to these messages. Now, as we go through and we start to understand the different pages from your website that will have her reference, you can actually start to omit some of these. Maybe it's a blog post, maybe it's a page that's out of date. You can start to hide that so Piper never references out-of-date information. So this whole process is really what allows you to have Piper be on brand and on message every single time. And trust us as marketers, we totally know. We want to make sure that there's never a question in terms of what Piper might say. So gone are the days of training a human rep, guessing what they might say on your website. All of this is controlled within your Piper onboarding, so you can feel really confident in the messaging that she's always sharing. Now, the content is awesome, but what is most important is her goals. So Piper, because she's part of your SDR team, Piper needs goals. Who do we want her to be booking meetings with? So over here in the goal setup, what you can do is you can start to understand different topics you want her to listen to. So things like book a meeting, meet with a rep, or connect with a team. And you'll determine the segments for her. So if it's a target account, maybe it's someone in our diamond account segment, we always want her to route for a meeting. Or on the flip side, maybe we want her to surface more top of the funnel content for folks that are just getting to know your brand or becoming more familiar. So your goals are ensuring that Piper is moving that business forward and always driving that conversion. Now, next up are your rules of engagement. So this is really where you are establishing that context for Piper. And if we jump back over into that human SDR parallel, when you think about onboarding a new sales rep, you're going to put them through boot camp. You're going to monitor their work. You're going to make sure that they're always within context. You're doing the exact same thing with your Piper onboarding. So in this example, what I can tell Piper is, hey, Piper, never give out exact pricing information. Let the visitor know it's always nuanced. We want to make sure they can connect with a human sales rep. Or on the flip side, if someone is asking a support question, we want to tell Piper to help them navigate them over to their knowledge base. Now, over in the scorecard, this is one of the most crucial parts of your setup. This is where you are asking questions to Piper and you're seeing how she's responding. Then what you can do is you can either accept her response or you can reject her response to really start to optimize her outputs and understand how she's going to be responding to each of these questions on the website. Now, if we reject it, we want to give Piper some feedback. Here's how you should answer it in the future. This was incorrect for this reason, or it wasn't helpful. It might be the wrong tone. Maybe the citations she leveraged were incorrect. So we want to always make sure we're giving her that feedback so that you can continue to make sure that you are building this confidence. This is where you are going to make sure you feel really ready for Piper to be live on your website, engaging with those live prospects. Now, over in the inbox, this is where we can start to see some of those more different topics. So which questions are being asked more frequently or maybe more recently. And this is just giving you really rich insights into what topics are most relevant to your buyers. So great, we now just saw how Piper is onboarded. Now let's jump into, if we go back to that first use case with Corey on the website, what we want to see is how do we actually build that experience? So I'll navigate over to the experience builder. And for all of you customers out there, I think you're going to be pretty excited to see this. It is a very simple build. So gone are the days of those really complex rules-based logic, the rules-based routing rules. This is a really simple build. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start and I'll just go ahead and build this, and I'll let Piper know that this is for target accounts that are clicking on paid advertisements. What you'll do is you will tell Piper the definition of the segment that you want to trigger this experience for. It could be any of those different audience visitors or maybe a different page that they're on. And this is where the magic happens. Watch this. This is a single step. I'm just turning on autopilot and telling Piper I want her to proactively greet visitors. And what Piper's doing is she is operating out of this autopilot. So she is serving a really bespoke experience to each of these website visitors because, again, she knows everything about those visitors. She has their CRM data, their account history, their current browsing behaviors, ads that they'd click through to arrive on your website. So really, the complexity really lives more within the onboarding of Piper. And when you start to build Piper, it becomes super simple. So if we navigate back over to the website and see what this looks like in action again, as I focus more on the right-hand corner where Piper is greeting Corey, again, we can see Piper is greeting her and sending her that secondary message, and she will then have those goals built in to continue that conversation and always look to book the meeting. So now that was the Piper on-site engagement. Now I do want to talk through how we build out the email example that Moore showed us. So as I cruise over to our email campaign setup, what you're going to see is the first thing you're going to do is actually start to build out that campaign. You're going to identify which trigger event you want for this campaign. In our case today, we're triggering this off of the Contact Us form. And you can let Piper know which audience you want to target. It could be alt leads, or again, just following our demo here, we've been focused on these diamond accounts. And you can tell Piper who we want to send this email from. So for our purpose, we are sending this from Piper, but in reality, you all will probably want to select a sales rep to send these emails on behalf of. And then down here, Piper is super goal-oriented. So we can let Piper know, always book a demo meeting with these folks. And maybe here's the duration you want to set for the campaign or some exit criteria that will allow leads to get out of that campaign. So now let's take a look at the fun part. As I head over into the AI SDR training section, what you can see on the right-hand side is all of the context we're giving Piper. So we want to let her know what the purpose of this campaign is, some relevant information. So I might say certain things like, hey, Piper, we want to ensure that no VIP visitors are falling through the cracks. If it's an important visitor that fills out this form, always work to schedule that meeting. And then some background of that campaign. These are tier 1 accounts. They're hitting our website. They're attempting to book a meeting. We need you to follow up immediately. And now, Piper, I want you to be persistent, but not too pushy. So you can adjust this level here. And then again, where a lot of the magic within Qualified and Piper lives is all that data we have about these visitors. So I can tell Piper, I want you to use these fields for personalization. I want you to greet these prospects by name, reference their company or the title and the level of seniority at the company, and the industry they're in. So we can actually start to provide some relevant content for them. Now, that's not all. You can see that we can actually upload certain email samples. So what we can do is we can give Piper examples of her human coworkers. How are they emailing the prospects? What is working for them? Piper can reference their language, the copy that they're using here, and she can use that as she's starting to build her own emails. All right, so now let's head up to my favorite part, which is the Qualified AI Email Sequence Simulator. So as marketers, I know that you all want to have confidence in AI. We want to make sure that you understand how is this going to work in the wild. So what we can do is we can actually start to simulate what Piper would say to different leads. So in this case, I'll go ahead and just check out a lead. We're going to click on Sean, and we're going to see what Piper simulates in this email. Now, as she's working to build this out, one thing I do want to note is no two emails are the same. Every email that Piper sends is 100% bespoke, and she's referencing all that information and the personalization to create those bespoke emails. She knows he filled out this form. She can reference him by name and his company, even knows his title, and again, that level of seniority to provide more of that customization. Let's go ahead and we'll try out another example. I'll go ahead and click on Melanie from Dropbox. And as Piper's generating that email, again, she's going to reference all of the personalization that she can about this visitor. Melanie had also filled out the Marketo form. She works at Dropbox, and Piper can reference her name. Now, what's super cool is you can actually start to simulate other scenarios. So let's say, as an example, Melanie didn't respond to Piper, or maybe in a different scenario, she started to have her account surging. Melanie was frequenting the website, different visitors from the company were on the website as well. So you can start to understand how Piper would respond in those different scenarios. Now, in this case, I'll go ahead and click no reply. And as we see the Piper email show up, you're going to, again, see some of that personalization in there. So Piper will likely reference a previous email or just let Melanie know she's bumping this email back to her inbox. We can see here, circling back to see if we can find a time to chat and a link to always book that meeting. Maura, this is so cool. And before I pass it back over to you, I just want to head back over to the Brex website so we can see again what this looks like. Jimmy had filled out that form. When he clicked submit, no time was wasted. Piper was in his inbox at the right time with the right content, driving for that conversion with this meeting link.